Have you ever had a moment that made you stop and wonder, is this really happening? Or am I somehow making this happen? You bump into someone who changes your life just minutes after thinking about them. You suddenly feel that a friend is about to call you, and then they do. Or you wake up in a mood you can't explain, and the entire day bends itself around that emotion. Coincidence? Or something deeper? Something hidden beneath the surface of everyday life? What if you're not just living in reality? What if you're broadcasting it? What if reality is not fixed, but fluid? Not a place you arrive in, but a mirror that responds to the signal you're sending at all times. That signal is what I call your observer frequency. And once you understand it, not just intellectually, but viscerally, everything begins to shift. What you attract, what you notice, what becomes possible. In this video, we're not here to manifest cars or crystals. We're here to break the illusion of objectivity, to expose the invisible operating system that quietly governs your world, and to show you how to reprogram it. This is about rewiring the lens through which you observe your life, and by doing so, changing the life that gets observed. Let's begin. From a young age, we're told, the world just is. It's out there. It's solid. It's unchanging. It doesn't care how you feel or what you believe. That idea, that reality is objective, has been drilled into us like a law of physics. But the moment you look closer, that law starts to crack. Why do two people walk through the same storm and only one gets wet? Why does one child grow up seeing love in discipline and another sees control? Why do some people find freedom in uncertainty while others drown in it? If reality were truly fixed, we'd all experience it the same way. But we don't. We never have. That's because you don't see the world as it is. You see the world through your filters, your expectations, your beliefs, your fears. And those filters determine which pieces of reality you pick up and which pieces your brain deletes entirely. Your subconscious mind processes millions of bits of sensory data every second, but you're only conscious of about 40 bits. So who chooses which 40? Your brain, and more specifically, your observer frequency. Your frequency is the keyhole through which you view the world, and everything outside that keyhole doesn't exist for you. This means the world you see isn't the truth. It's a version of the truth, filtered by your past, filtered by your trauma, filtered by your story. And maybe it's time to change the lens. So what exactly is this thing we're calling the observer frequency? It's not a new age buzzword. It's not just a metaphor. It's a real phenomenon backed by neuroscience, psychology, and quantum physics. Imagine a radio dial. You can tune into 98.1 and hear jazz. Switch to 103.7 and you're in the middle of a political rant. The frequencies are all around you, but you only hear the one you're tuned into. Your observer frequency works the same way. It's your mental and emotional frequency, the vibration of your awareness. It's made up of three things: your identity, who you believe you are, and what you deserve; your emotional set point, the feelings you habitually return to; your perceptual filters, what your brain chooses to highlight or delete. If you believe the world is dangerous, you'll subconsciously seek out threats. If you believe you're unworthy, you'll interpret compliments as sarcasm. The signal you send out determines the shape of the world that shows up. This is not magic. It's cognitive science, and it's happening all the time. with or without your awareness. The problem? Most people's observer frequency is not chosen. It's inherited from childhood wounds, from culture, from repetition. But here's the breakthrough. You don't have to keep that default setting. You can manually retune your frequency. And when you do, you don't just change how you feel inside. You begin to attract experiences that match the new frequency. Because reality doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. In quantum physics, there's something known as the observer effect. It's one of the strangest and most powerful discoveries in science. When scientists try to measure the behavior of a particle, like an electron, something weird happens. The act of observing the particle changes its behavior. Without an observer, the particle exists in a probability wave, a blur of all possible states. But the moment someone observes it, the wave collapses. It becomes one thing, one state, one measurable event. The implication? Consciousness affects reality. The observer is not separate from the thing being observed. And that same truth applies to you. You are both the participant and the observer of your life. Your attention, where it goes, how it moves, what it expects, has a ripple effect on your reality. Every fear you focus on becomes more likely to occur. Every belief you reinforce bends probability in its direction. The observer effect isn't just for particles, it's for people. And every time you shift your awareness, you shift the world around you. It's not just quantum physics that points to this truth. Psychology agrees. There's a little-known system in your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It decides what information is important enough for you to notice and what to delete. Ever bought a new pair of shoes and suddenly started seeing them everywhere? That's your RAS at work. The moment you assign emotional significance to something, your RAS says, okay, let's find more of that. It filters your entire sensory reality based on what you expect, believe, or emotionally invest in. If you believe the world is full of rejection, your RAS will delete kindness and amplify criticism. If you believe you're not good enough, your RAS will seek out moments that prove it. In other words, you will always find evidence for your frequency. And that's what makes it so hard to escape. Because to shift your life, you have to challenge the very experiences that seem to define it. You have to look at your evidence and say, maybe this isn't truth. Maybe it's just a reflection of my past frequency. That takes courage, but it's the first step to stepping into a new version of reality. So, you've come to see that your perception is not fixed, a choice of filters, a static channel that you've been tuned to for far too long. Now the question is, how can you change that frequency? The first step is to become a keen observer of your own mind. Notice where your focus resides. Every morning, take a moment to observe your thoughts before the rush of the day begins. As you wake, don't immediately check your phone or dive into your routine. Instead, sit quietly. Ask yourself, what thoughts am I clinging to right now? Notice if you're already expecting criticism, disappointment, or failure. These thoughts are signals from your inner channel. They tell you which frequency you're currently broadcasting. Next, challenge those default settings. Start reframing your inner dialogue. For instance, if you catch yourself thinking, I always fail, pause and ask, what if I'm capable of more? What if every setback is the universe's way of guiding me toward growth? It may feel uncomfortable, even disorienting at first. But every time you take this deliberate pause to reframe your narrative, you begin to reprogram your mental filters. Imagine your mind as a garden. The thoughts you water are the ones that grow. Choose to water thoughts of possibility, resilience, and courage. Here are some practical techniques to help shift your frequency. Mindfulness meditation. Sit in silence, just as you are. Let your thoughts come and go without judgment. Over time, you'll learn to recognize the subtle patterns that have defined your experience. Journaling. Write down your recurring thoughts and feelings. Look for patterns. The self-defeating beliefs, the fears, the unchallenged assumptions about who you are. Then, write an alternative narrative that offers a more expansive view of yourself. Visualization. Every day, take a few minutes to vividly imagine yourself living a different reality. Imagine feeling confident, seeing opportunities in every corner, and witnessing a world that reflects your highest aspirations. Affirmations and mantras. Create statements that challenge your old beliefs. For instance, I am a creative force, attracting abundance and joy. Repeat these until they start to feel true, until they begin to rewire your subconscious. Curiosity and exploration. Never settle into the comfort of the familiar. Embrace uncertainty by asking questions like, what if the world isn't as rigid as it seems? Every small, intentional adjustment in how you think has a ripple effect on how you experience life. Think of it this way. Every moment is a tuning fork. When you vibrate at a higher or lower frequency, you send out waves that shape your immediate reality. But remember, the process isn't instantaneous. It's a gradual, persistent shift. And during that transition, you may feel moments of profound disorientation. That's the space where transformation is at work, where the old self dissolves and the new self begins to form. Embrace those moments of silence and uncertainty. They are the chrysalis from which a freer, more vibrant reality is born. Transforming your observer frequency isn't just about changing thoughts. It's about reshaping who you are. And here lies one of the most daunting aspects of the journey, the identity disruption. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the very core beliefs that have defined you since childhood are not set in stone. They are malleable, temporary, and subject to change. This realization can feel like a seismic shift. Picture an old, worn-out record playing on an endless loop. It's comfortable and familiar, even if it's imperfect. But what if you had the power to erase that record and compose a new melody for your life? The old version of yourself, filled with self-imposed limitations, fears, and outdated narratives, begs to be recognized. Yet, clinging to that old self may be the very thing that holds you back from experiencing the fullness of a new reality. When you begin to change your observer frequency, you are essentially asking your inner world to let go of its legacy. And that doesn't come easy. The mind resists change like a river carves its banks. Your identity has been built over years of experience and repetition. When you challenge that identity, it's only natural to feel a sense of loss or uncertainty. Consider the process as an inward revolution, where the ego, the comfortable version of yourself, is confronted by a vision of endless possibility. You may experience moments of panic or grief, feeling as if parts of you are vanishing. That's not a failure. It's the beginning of something new. In those moments, focus on the idea that the dissolving of the old identity is paving the way for a richer, more authentic self. Embrace techniques that help you navigate the discomfort. Inner dialogue. Talk gently to yourself during times of uncertainty. Remind yourself that every great evolution requires a period of confusion. Self-compassion. Understand that letting go of a familiar self-identity is a brave act. Offer yourself kindness, as if you were a dear friend making a risky yet rewarding choice. Reflective contemplation. Spend time meditating on who you are beyond your labels, beyond "I'm not good enough" or "I'm always fearful." Every instance of identity disruption is a fleeting window, an opportunity to reassemble the parts of you in a way that aligns with the truth of who you want to become. As you embark on this inner revolution, remember that the journey is not linear. There will be days of clarity and days of darkness. Trust that with persistence, the emerging version of you will be more vibrant, more intentional, and more in tune with the symphony of the universe. This new identity is not a complete erasure of the past. It's an evolution that honors where you've been while boldly stepping into where you want to go. As we begin to draw this journey to a close, take a deep breath and consider this final truth. Reality is not an unyielding static structure. It is a mirror, a reflection of the frequencies we choose to project. Every thought you entertain, every feeling you nurture, is like a brush stroke on the canvas of your experience. Change the color, change the brush, change the way you paint your world, and the image in the mirror transforms. Look around at your life. Recognize that the circumstances you experience are not random. They are echoes of your inner state. When you shift your observer frequency, you invite new possibilities. The same universe that once mirrored your fears now reflects your courage, your hope, and your creative potential. This is not a call to mere positive thinking. It is an invitation to awaken to the fact that you are the architect of your reality. The journey of transformation begins not outside, but within. Every moment you choose to question, every moment you refuse to accept the default narrative, you take another step toward a more expansive existence. As you move forward, remember, life is a co-creation, and you are both the artist and the canvas. Look at your reflection and see not just what is, but what could be. Trust in the process of change, in the gradual tuning of your frequency that allows a new reality to emerge. Embrace the mystery and the uncertainty of the journey, for it is in those moments that true magic happens. The mirror of reality is always clear. It reflects back to you the truth of your inner world. So, change your inner dialogue, shift your focus, reprogram your filters, and watch as the world begins to mirror the vibrant, authentic self that you are becoming. Now, I invite you to share your experience. Have you ever felt that sudden, inexplicable shift? The moment when your perspective changed so profoundly that you could almost sense a new reality taking shape? Drop a comment below with your story. Your insight might be the spark that guides someone else toward their own transformation. If this video has stirred something within you, if it's challenged you to think differently, to question the very fabric of your reality, then please give it a like and subscribe. By subscribing, you're joining a community of seekers, a community dedicated to exploring the profound mysteries of life, the mind, and the universe. Remember, every time you question, every time you choose a new frequency, you are not just a passive observer. You are the one shaping your destiny.